Episode 9 of A Good Day to Be a Dog starts with Haina celebrating the breaking of the curse with Wu-Take and Yuna. The two tease Haina for finally getting into a relationship with the math teacher, Seo-won. Just then, Haina gets a call from Seo-won and goes to her bedroom to talk to him. Meanwhile, Yuna ends up trying to kiss Wu-Take in a drunken state, but he pushes her back. Haina and Seo-won flirt on the phone for a bit and they discuss their respective nicknames for their partner. In his hideout room, Bo-kyum talks to the vice principal of the school. Bo-kyum asks the vice principal to continue his act as the vice principal of the school. The man asks Bo-kyum to send him back to his world as he does not like being in the human world. Bo-kyum instructs him to stop any romance between teachers starting from the following day. The next morning, Haina and Seo-won count the hours before they can see each other. Yeol finds Seo-won being distracted at breakfast as he texts Haina. He tells Seo-won everything he knows about Haina and asks his uncle to be good to her. At school, the staff is called in for a meeting where everyone receives a bracelet they are asked to wear at all times. The vice principal hands Haina a bracelet Bo-kyum made especially for her. At the meeting, the vice principal issues a stern warning to the staff and tells them that any act of PDA between teachers will be punished. Haina is shocked by the warning, but the other female teachers conclude that this warning was meant for their colleagues who were recently married. Seo-won tries to talk to Haina, but she tries to ignore him in front of the other female teachers. The two start exchanging notes with one another and are spotted being touchy by a female student. The student has a crush on Sae-won and uses the poetry class to vent her feelings about the teacher. Haina is amazed to hear her students talk about Seo-won. After the class, Yeol meets Haina and has a similar chat with his teacher. He tells her little details about Seo-won and asks her to be good to his uncle. Just then, Seo-won asks to meet Haina in private and hands over a book to her. Haina acts shy around Seo-won as they flirt with each other. Ms. Yoon spots them two together and runs to inform the vice principal. The vice principal rushes to inspect the two together but is disappointed to learn how Ms. Yoon had dragged him there just because Seo-won and Haina had exchanged a book. Ms. Yoon grows more curious about the two teachers and wonders if they are involved with each other. Later that day, Seo-won and Haina hang out at the indoor court but are separated when students show up to play badminton. The student who has a crush on Seo-won spots the two teachers hiding behind the curtains and is heartbroken. Meanwhile, Jia goes into Bo-kyum's hideout room after seeing the door unlocked. Inside the room, she finds a photo of herself and passes out. Bo-kyum shows up there and brings Jia to the medical room. Yeol shows up at the medical room and tries to exorcise her, assuming that she is possessed. Jia wonders if she has a past life connection with Bo-kyum. That evening, Yuna tries to chat with Haina about her feelings for Wu-Take. She asks her sister if being horny was normal, which shocks Haina. Later, Haina goes out for dinner with Seo-won when her sister's words about libido and sex haunt her. Yuna texts Haina and asks her to stay out till late that night as she is going to try and kiss Wu-Take. Yuna calls Wu-Take home but chickens out before kissing him. At the same time, Seo-won invites Haina home as Yeol is going to stay over at a friend's house. Yuna calls Haina back home but Haina decides to stay for a bit. Seo-won cuts some fruit for Haina to eat but she can't seem to stop thinking erotic thoughts. A while later, the couple sits on the couch to make out. They are interrupted when Bo-kyum shows up at the door. Haina hides in Yeol's room. Seo-won tells Bo-kyum that Yeol was busy doing teenage things, which is why his room was locked. Just then, Haina texts Seo-won and asks him to hide her slippers when Yeol shows up at the house. Bo-kyum acts confused, but Seo-won lies saying that he had no idea Yeol wasn't in his room already. Yeol tries to go to his room but cannot open the door. Bo-kyum asks Yeol to push the door open and the student does so. However, Haina hides in the balcony of the room in the meantime. Seo-won takes Yeol and Bo-kyam to the living room and asks them to watch a movie with him. Both Yeol and Bo-kyam fall asleep when Seo-won rushes to Yeol's room to bring Hae-na out. He spots Hae-na asleep in Yeol's closet and caresses her cheek. Hae-na wakes up and the two share a kiss. He slowly sneaks Hae-na out of the house. As it turns out, Bo-kyam was pretending to be asleep. The next day, Woo-taek tells Yuna that their uncle is receiving emergency kidney treatment and could die anytime soon. Hae-na learns about the news and gets concerned. She tells Seo-won about her uncle and how he caught the curse. Seo-won asks Hae-na to try and end the curse somehow and promises to help her. At school, Ji-ah confronts Bo-kyam and tries to ask him about the room.